Hi, JD here from the Institute of Wow, and I have my good pal with me, Danny McMaster. And Danny
JD.
McMaster is one of the world's leading comedic impersonators. He has about 200 voices inside him living. And one that I'm going to get him to demonstrate today has a pretty close association with something that I get really annoyed with, and I bet you do too, and that is telemarketers ringing at the wrong time. I remember a few years ago, Danny, when I used to cop them, I used to say, well, look, I'm busy at the moment, but how about you give me your number and I'll ring you back when you're having dinner. Danny does a fantastic telemarketing gag, and I'll get him to do that in just a second, but on a marketing sense, because that's my business, the Institute of Wow's marketing, just be careful with telemarketing. I mean, look, I understand it's been around since Tupperware, but it can be something that could be very, very harmful to your brand if you get it wrong. And we'll come back to telemarketing in a moment, but without any further ado, I want Danny to tell the story about a particular Hollywood star and telemarketing.
Well, it's true. Most of the stuff I do is sort of based on experiences that I had, and this was true. It used to get a lot of calls from telemarketers and what have you, and it was annoying. So you'd go on a list, try and put yourself on a list, say no call list and whatever. That didn't work. And so I was, I practice speeches from different movies, like, Jack Nicholson, You Can't Handle the Truth, so I would do those. And then Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman, there was a speech in that where he was defending the young man from Oregon, who you send him home with his tail between his legs. This fine soldier is not turning tail, So I would learn all those speeches. So I learnt the Liam Neeson speech, and I thought, well.
Now the movies, just so in case someone's watching that they might not be familiar with Liam. The movies are his daughter gets kidnapped.
Kidnapped, that's right. And
what are they called?
The kidnapper, Taken.
Taken.
Taken 1, Taken 2, Taken 3. I thought personally they took enough in the first one. So the thing was that I had the opportunity one day. This bloke, they rang, and I have a housemate.
But can I interrupt you? When I've watched you do this though, to set this up properly, what does Liam say to the kidnappers when his daughter? Because that'll set it up.
Yes. I said, I don't know what you're after. If it's ransom, I don't have any money. But what I do have is a particular set of skills that I've acquired over a long period of time, used against somebody like you, would be your worst nightmare. If you let my daughter go, I won't look for you and nothing will happen. But if you don't let my daughter go, I will look for you, I will find you, and I will kill you. And I've always thought, I'd love to say that to somebody in real life, just to put the fear or whatever, because they're annoying you. And a telemarketer is obviously the right circumstance, and that happened.
It happened.
Yeah, and I was getting these calls, and it was a landline. So the old landline, and I picked it up. I come in one night, and the phone starts ringing, the dog's jumping all over you. I want to go and get a beer. No, that's not going to happen. So I pick up the phone. Before I can answer the phone, I hear on the other end, hello, Mr. McMaster, there is something wrong with your computer. And I answered, I don't know what you're after. If it's money, I don't have any. But what I do have is a particular set of skills that I've acquired over a long period of time, used against somebody like you would be a worse nightmare. If you put the phone down now, I won't look for you and nothing will happen. But if you don't put the phone down, I will look for you, I will find you, and I will kill you. And I'm sorry, I do not have enough time for this phone call. Bye-bye, but no, click. And that was it. And I thought that'd be the end of it. I thought, funny, and I'm doing I want to do a lap of honour around the place and go, this is great. And my mate, my housemate at the time said, who were you talking to then? I said, telemarketer. And he goes, oh. He said, did you tell them all you're going to kill them? I said, so I said, no, it's Liam Neeson. It wasn't me, And I figured that the guy would turn around in the room and sort of write, a warning out to all the other telemarketers. Do not ring this number. Do not ring this number. There is a madman in Australia who sounds like Liam Neeson. And he will track us down, he will find us, and he will kill us. And no, he turns around and says, you must ring this number. You must ring the number. There's this bloody idiot down there who thinks he's going to kill. I got 15, 20 calls a day.
Did you really?
For the next 10, 15 days. And sometime after about 6 or 7 o'clock at night, they'd stop for some reason or other. I don't know. Maybe the shift changed, right? And I was laying in bed, thinking, how do I get out of this? How do I got into it with this voice, but I think I could probably get out of it with a voice, but I'm not quite sure which voice or what have you. And I thought, how do I get out of this thing? I created my own nightmare. So it was a Saturday, you know, not just long after, and I said, look, I'll just leave it to my subconscious to come up with a solution. And it was this Saturday, and I'm there, and halfway through the afternoon, I had a couple of drinks, and I was watching the races and whatever. The phone rings, and I walked up, picked up, hello, Mr. McMaster, there is something wrong with your computer. And I came out with Porky Pig. And I did, hello? And he goes, hello, is this Mr. McMaster? It's his twin brother. And we went on and on and on this thing. At the end of it, I said to the guy, I said, is this the only job you got? And he goes, yes, this is the only job I've got. You know what I do for a living? And he said, no, what do you do for a living? I'm a Bible salesman. Would you like to buy one, or I could read it to you? I do not have enough time. Thank you very much. I don't live long enough. Thank you very much. That was it. No more calls. True story.
I was hoping that what you would say at the end of that is that that's all, folks.
But yeah, it was a true story.
Oh,
and it went on for like, nearly 3 weeks. And I was thinking that each time I'd stand up, I'll do Arnold. I don't know what you're after. You know, if it's money, I do not have any. And I'm thinking the same speech. You know, I might do, you know, John Cleese, I don't know what you're after. If it's money, I don't have any. But what I do have is a special, particular set of skills, you know. And I thought, no, that's not going to happen. That didn't work. None of it worked. But that's all, folks. That worked.
You can see why I'm doing this, okay? The thing is that I think I've got some skills at this direct marketing stuff, and I think I've got some runs on the board. But when we bumped into each other, there's three of us. There's Danny, another guy called Homer, who we'll meet in some of my other videos, who's also brilliant at this sort of stuff. And myself, we thought, look, why don't we get together and do some of this stuff whereby I provide the marketing advice, and we'll talk about that telemarketing advice in just a moment. And what Danny and Homer bring to the table is turning that marketing advice into something that's entertaining. Because I think if I could speak on behalf of anyone who's watching this who's been to a seminar or conferences or summits, I think they call them these days, you're bored shitless for a good part of it. Okay, the content might be good, but you just think, for God's sake, give me a pencil, I want to stub myself through the eye, you know. And so getting together with Danny and Homer, I just thought, look, we can actually turn this marketing stuff into some fun. So when you watch these little stupid segments that we do, which have to be under 10 minutes, by the way, I'm just looking at my clock here because LinkedIn has a 10-minute limit. Facebook can go for hours, and you're probably thanking the Lord above now that, that LinkedIn has a 10-minute thing. We're going to bring some marketing expertise to the table, but with a bit of fun. And these guys really know how to have fun, I can tell you. The reason is because there's 4 bottles of beer just under us. You can't see. Telemarketing, just be very careful. It can destroy your brand if you don't do it properly. And the way I look at telemarketing is that, can you imagine if someone rang and said, listen, before we go any further, look, this is to tell you about ABC product, but if you just hear me out for the next 60 seconds, we're going to put your name in a draw to win X $1,000. Can you imagine the demeanour at the other end of the phone then would be quite different? Nobody thinks about that wow factor up front. They don't. They just simply go through the whole Indian thing, and we're saying Indians, but whoever they are, obviously the Indians are always the ones we pick on.
They are American pigs.
Listen, if you want more of this stuff and you've enjoyed what Danny and I have just presented to you, then there's a link above or below beside us here. Just click on that and you'll find that you'll be able to pick up some marketing advice that you won't get anywhere else. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you, JD.
Can you do us that?
That's all, folks.